Hiya! Jacob Hawley here from the Screen Rot podcast. Hope you're doing well, Screen Rot fans, rotters. We've got a bit of information for you. We put tickets on sale to our live Christmas special. We put those tickets on sale last Friday to the top tier of our Patreon, the Illuminati. You guys sold that out in a few hours. We managed to get a few more tickets to put on sale for that event. We put it on sale to the Illuminati, the top tier again. They sold it out in minutes. We're so grateful to that. We're really blown away. But we are aware that the rest of the Patreon members, the Freemasons who pay $3.99 a month, and you lovely lot who just listen and watch and don't give us any money, cheapskates, you didn't get a chance to buy tickets. So there's two things we want to do as a means of apology. First of all, I want to offer all of you 20% off tickets to my tour show in London on the 24th of November. You can come and see my stand-up tour. It's called Space. It's a great hour of stand-up comedy. You can come see me doing an hour of stand-up and Jake doing stand-up as well. He'll be supporting me at the top of the show. You can come and see that on the 24th of November. Enter Screen Rot in capital letters at the ticket checkout. You can get tickets via the link in my bio or my website, jacobhawley.co.uk, or the Park Theatre's website. Just put Screen Rot at the discount code, you'll get 20% off. Love to have some of you rotters there. The second thing we're going to do, we're going to work on something much bigger. A big Screen Rot live show for the end of January. A kind of awards ceremony, maybe. Something where we all wear our best clothes, our tuxedos, our glad rags, and we celebrate the best bits of rot of 2024. If that sounds like something you'd be keen for, we're going to try and do that. The tickets will go on sale to patrons first, in the same way this did. They'll go to the top tier of the patrons first, then they'll go to the lower tier, then they'll go to everyone else. If you want to be sure that you'll get tickets to the biggest live thing we're ever going to do at the end of January, the big awards do, the Rotties, make sure you sign up to the Patreon. Thank you very much. Enjoy this week's episode. Welcome to the Screen Rot Podcast, the podcast where we discuss the weirdest and worst content that's been rot on our screens and indeed our minds. Very quick shout out to all the subscribers on Apple, Spotify and YouTube. Massive shout out to everyone who pays their way over on Patreon, the Illuminati who've all got free hats, the Freemasons who get extra episodes every month. A massive shout out to Eugene who runs our Twitter account. He might be God. And most importantly and not least, a big wink and a kiss. I've done a lot on my face then. To the ladies who listen, who are some of the most gorgeous and indeed sexy ladies in the United Kingdom. I'm here with Jake Farrell.
I would love if they do like a brain scan activity on you whilst you're doing that. I reckon that might be the most stimulated you are. Like, oh, we're not sure how he's doing it. He's like Bradley Cooper from Limitless.
How are you? Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. We should start by saying, sorry, I asked you how you were and then got stimulated again.
How are you doing? Welcome to the show. No, go on. What were you going to say?
I was just going to say, welcome to the show. New listeners, thank you very much. Thanks for joining us. If this is your first time listening, I hope you enjoy. Returning listeners, we love you so much, and we hope you enjoy this episode of the show. How are you getting on?
I ripped my trousers on the way here. Slightly concerned. Yeah, just underneath the crotch area. Slightly concerned. I'm trying to see on the camera what's going on in terms of that being on there. We're already getting videos demonetized on YouTube. I can't also add in there video demonetized, host has genitals out accidentally on
your
there.
Little mango gooch poking out at the camera.
That's definitely a demonetisation. Mango gooch out of there straight away.
Mango gooch sounds like a type of like weed vape you'd be able to buy off Telegram.
Yeah, that we sponsor with Mango the cat, Mango gooch flavour.
Mango gooch 2K.
The new Monster Energy drink. Other than that, I'm fine. I've actually ripped 2 pairs of trousers in the last kind of fortnight to 3 weeks.
Really?
I'm choosing to believe it is just blind bad luck and nothing to do with how old or decrepit my body is.
I was going to say, or like weight gain or anything like that.
Something to do with that.
Yeah, it's not your fault. It's the universe.
It's the Dickies. They're not manufacturing the Dickies.
The universe is putting trousers under too much stress. It's mental health. It's so bad nowadays that even your trousers are stressed. Even your crotch is stressed out.
My Mango gooch is struggling. What's going on with you?
I was sick, wasn't I? Last episode, I was very ill.
Just coming back to full fitness.
Yeah, mate. It's proper, old now. I'm nearly 33, and it does take longer. It does take a lot longer. And obviously, I've got a bad heart, dodgy ticker.
Yeah.
So I had to go and get that checked because the GP was like, "Oh, your heart does funny things, doesn't it?" And I was like,
"Always what you on here."
I was like, "I have told you this before." And he was like, "Oh, better go." So I had to go to hospital.
I love it when they do that. Where you go like, sometimes you go like, "Have you got that on the notes?" Or and in your notes, and they're like, "Yeah, I'm sure it's in there."
Yeah, mate.
What do you mean? Read them before I get here.
Look, tell me if they are. It was great with my guy because, basically they were like, "Yeah, your heart rate goes up really quickly and comes down really quickly, and then it stays low for a long time." I was like, "Yeah, I was in hospital with it for a week. I know that." They were like, "You need to have some scans." I was like, "You sent me for scans. You never told me the results." And the guy, my GP, he was like, "Who did all this then?" I didn't want to say. I was like, "It was you," but he'd forgotten that he'd seen me 6 months ago.
What idiot did all of this?
Yeah, he was literally like, "Who? What? No one chased up the results. Who was that?" And I just heard him be like, "Oh." So I had to go in. I had to go to hospital.
Who commissioned this brain scan for at the start of your podcast?
That's what does my heart. I get so overexcited by shouting out all the ladies in the UK.
Mr. Hawley, do you ever have periods where you're almost holding your breath in order to speak fast?
Wait till you watch that intro back. I was trying to wink at them and kiss them at the same time, and I think it might have looked like I was having a stroke. So I went to hospital last week for the heart. And where I live, I'm closest to the Whittington in Archway, but it's grim.
It's not good.
And because it wasn't an urgent thing, it was like, just go and get your heart checked. I was like, you know what, I'll treat myself. So I drove to Hampstead. I was like, I'll go nice. Do you know what I mean? Go nice big M&S next to the Royal Free. Nice big M&S, brutalist architecture. It's nice. Pop in, nice cafe. You can get a good coffee.
Yeah. So
I was like, I'll treat myself to there. I mean, like, honestly, you walk in, there's just blood everywhere. It's so bad.
It's not good, yeah.
And I was being seen by this little Slovakian nurse. She had to take my blood.
Right.
And we're chatting, and I have to do a lot. I mean, people will be listening to this going, "What the fuck is wrong with this guy?" I've also got needle phobia, so I have to do a lot of like, "Look, you need to lie me down. I'm going to pass out when you do it." Blah blah. And she's like, "What?"
Like a horse.
Yeah, literally. Because a lot of them, and it's especially this one, I have to say, like, I'm like, you won't be able to lift me. Do you know what I mean? I'm 6'3",
right,
I weigh 85
kilos.
You're not going to be able to get me up.
83 on a good day. Yeah.
Well, it was not a good day, brother. So we're chatting, and she's like late 40s. Well, I'm not like flirting or anything, but I was like, I used to have a Slovakian girlfriend. She was like, really? I was like, telling her about it, and she said to me, "This is mad, right?" Bear in mind, I'd chosen this hospital because I was like, it'll be on market, it'll be nice.
It's good gear around there.
I said to this little Slovakian nurse, I used to have a Slovakian missus, and she goes, "I come to United Kingdom because I wanted white English man." I went, right. And whenever they specify white, you're like, oh, where's this going?
Yeah.
And she goes, "The problem is I live in London." And I went,
uh-oh.
Right. And she goes, "There are no white English man in London." I'm just like, I'm just fucking there.
There's ironically some political parties that share her point of view, but they would not like the fact she's Slovakian.
They're not trying to get Slovakian nurses on side.
They'd be like, "Yes, we agree on that stuff." "Oh, no, but we also have an inbuilt prejudice towards Eastern European people as well."
It's like, you expect a long waiting times. You kind of expect to not be seen for a while. You don't expect a fucking racist Slovak taking your blood.
No, that's true. You don't expect that.
So I had that on the way.
To be fair, she wasn't expecting a 32-year-old man that can't stand the sight of needles either, probably, to be fair.
Yeah. But it's also like, I don't know, it's just it's like Zone 2 London. There are people of every background sat around me. And it's just, I don't know, I don't want to sound like, you just feel like someone can hear you. Everyone can hear you.
Oh my God, it's insane.
You're working amongst other...
In any walk of life, it's an insane thing to say, a truly deranged thing to say. In that situation, in the middle of London, it's an utterly deranged and really quite scary thing to say, actually, that those people walk amongst us.
Well, I did think...
Taking our blood.
I was like, to be fair, yeah, you are going to take extra good care of me, though. Like, I'm exactly what you want. Like... Anyway,
you haven't got any Irish heritage, have you?
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah.
No.
So I had that on Wednesday, stressing me out.
Racism at the hospital.
Racist Slovak nurses, not ideal. Then Friday, I was like, right, I need to get back to work. Like, self-employed. Even though I was fucked. Right?
Yeah.
I was fucked, but I had this gig in Reading. I get there, I go to the gig in Reading, and is at a venue in Reading where I was supposed to have done a tour show. And just quickly, I'm on tour. Starting in mid-November.
Leamington Spa,
Aylesbury and London. They're the 3 November dates. Let's fill them up. Let's get rotters there. I want rotter hats in the audience at my stand-up
That would be
tour.
great.
And if you find us funny on here, we're funnier when we've fucking written it down first.
If you come to all 3 gigs, we'll dedicate an episode of the podcast to you. Yeah. You can come on the podcast. No, actually, don't do that. All people that do that.
We'll talk about it.
If you do the big three,
If you do.
Aylesbury, Leamington Spa, London, in that order, because that's crucially the order they're in time, what we understand to be linear time, then what, we'll send you some kind of letter, like when someone turns 100.
Patron special, you can come on. Not the main feed. But anyway.
The Slovak nurse is coming on next week. We can't...
She's going to tell us what she thinks it'd be like. So... She'd love it.
She'd love me,
but anyway, so I was doing this gig in Reading at a venue where I was supposed to have done a tour show over the summer.
Right.
And it was a rare. I had to cancel the tour show over the summer because my girlfriend was really unwell. I don't know if you'd remember.
Yes.
So I get there, and mate, I get there. I'm powered by paracetamol and Lucozade. Like I'm like, you know, I don't get paid for their work, so I had to go to work. Get there. Two lads in the toilet. Oh, he's fucking turned up then, has he? Oh, didn't fancy it in June though, mate. And I was like, oh, fucking hell, here we go.
Oh, right.
And it's and you know, we mentioned this on here before. My people who come and see me do stand up, they sometimes do a bit blokey, bit laddie. We you know, we love them. Good laugh, you know. Ben and Shane, big up boys. But,
yeah.
But these two Reading lads, they were very much that, right? And they were pissed. And they booked tickets to see me on tour, and I hadn't come. But now I was just doing a kind of like mixed bill comedy night at this venue, so I booked tickets to this, and they're giving me a bit of stick, and I'm like soaked in sweat. I'm like sick, you know. My throat is fucked, so I'm just like, oh god, how am I going to deal with this? I get on stage, and they're sat front row.
Oh, of course they are. They're never at the back, are they?
It's hard because they're being nice.
Yes.
They've come to see me.
Yeah.
So I can't just be like, shut the fuck up. And they listen to this, by the way, so they'll hear this.
Okay.
Right? But they're like shouting out and they're heckling. And they're talking. I went on the Dead Men Talking podcast a few weeks ago, and they go. Basically, they kept going, have you brought your sex doll with you?
Yes.
So I was talking on that podcast about how I once got sent a full life-size sex doll.
Which you then sent to me.
That's how it ended up. Yeah. So, but they're you know, busy comedy club, and I've just got these two lads.
And they're doing private jokes.
So, and I'm having to explain. I'm going, no, the sex doll's not here. Then there's another load, and I'm like, so the reason they're asking me about a sex doll, and I'm soaked in sweat. I'm so ill, and I'm struggling. I'm like, oh god, why am I talking about a sex doll? These people in Reading are like, why? What sex doll? What is this tour he does? And these lads, they're hammered. They're drinking more and more. They're shouting out. They're loving it. They're loving that I'm getting.
They always are. They're always having a great time.
So then, I'm like, oh god, I need to just change the subject. And I'm like, what do I do? And I just look across the front row, and there's a couple, right? Now, there's a couple who are LGBTQ, and I don't think they would mind me saying, gender non-conforming.
Right.
It doesn't matter. I wouldn't bring it up, apart from what happens next. So...
That's never good. That's never good.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So...
I'm just thinking, how can I clip this out in order? Well, don't worry, we'll sort it out.
So no, it's fine. So I'm just like changing subject. Couple, hey, how's it going? You on a first date? And they're like, and then I'm like, cool. Yeah, how'd you meet? Blah blah blah. And they're like, Grinder. And I'm like, sick. Okay, cool. And these lads, Grinder. Like, oh god, fucking hell, what have I done? And I'm like, what's going to happen here?
Like bringing an XL bully to a child's.
Yeah. Oh, you brought Knuckles to our 3-year-old's birthday, have you? So the lads are going. And I'm like, oh no. And what the lads start doing, they start going, kiss at this couple. And the couple are fucking great about it. They're going, we will later, yeah, cheers boys.
Yeah. Leave us alone.
And so I start taking the piss out of the lads. I'm like, you're like dogs. I'm like, you're randy, you're horny. I'm like, you're so excited by the idea, you know, you're like, you know, I'm not acting it out. And it's going down well, everyone's laughing. I'm like, you know, look, these fucking lads, they're in, kiss. Everyone's finding it funny. And then, but they, rather than realising I'm taking the mick out of them, they love it. So they start doing what I'm, like, they start acting up to the impression I'm doing of them. So I'm like thrusting my hips and be like, yeah, you guys shouting kiss at them, you're like trying to get them to shag. And they're like, yeah, we are. Start thrusting their hips. And then one of them does one of the funniest things I've seen. So he turns to the couple and he's like, yeah, kiss. Starts thrusting his hips. And then he starts doing that.
Okay.
One index finger going into other's fingers looped, which is the kind for audio listeners, which is the sort of universally recognised penis going in penetrative sex thing. Then he realises that he's talking to an LGBTQ couple. So what he does is he's going like that. He's going, yeah. And then he goes, or, and then starts doing that. And then go, or, and he goes, just whatever. fingers together, holes together, just whatever.
Utter woke nonsense.
I was like, you know what?
That's actually quite.
It's sort of nice.
Yeah, that's actually quite encouraging. I mean, in an ideal world, he wouldn't be doing any hand gestures that suggest sex.
In an ideal world, then shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
But I was like, you know what? I was like...
But that is inclusive. In a world where you're going to do the hand gestures, you're going to do finger into hole of other forefinger and thumb, it's good that you can do... Yeah,
or whatever.
where your index finger is a penis and your forefinger and thumb is a vagina in that instance. Or receptacle. Yeah, he could have done that as well.
Yeah.
I don't know what he thinks gay sex is, just two willies going together.
Again, gender non... Like, I don't know, but I don't think that... Look, we don't...
Actually, he's even woker than me.
Maybe.
He just doesn't care. Just get it all out there. Smash it together.
Just smash something.
Have a go.
When I walked into that venue, if someone had said to me, these two lads are going to heckle an LGBTQ couple, I would have been like, right, I need to leave. But the fact that they actually did it that way, I was like, fair play, boys.
Yeah.
You've done okay here.
So actually, that's encouraging for the country. At comedy clubs in Reading, there's people that are inclusive and thoughtful. In hospitals, mainly racist.
Yes.
Ideal.
Jacob Hawley's dispatches from the week.
You'd want it that way round, wouldn't you? Well, at least the drunks in Reading are inclusive.
Fuck me, 14 minutes. Okay, we need to do an episode. So people have clicked on this for Gordon Ramsay and they've just heard about two lads in Reading heckling an LGBTQ first date. So, ladies and gentlemen, I've said his name. Yeah, we always do this. We always build up the suspense of who we're going to be talking about when the title of the episode says who it is.
Yeah.
Like, they all know who it is.
Yeah. I mean, we do loads of deranged things on the podcast. If we stopped and explained every time we did a deranged thing, we'd be here all day.
None of it makes sense. Ladies and gentlemen, this week we are talking about the king of the kitchen, one of Britain's greatest exports. So someone who's been like, when you think about a mad Englishman, this guy's been the guy for 25 years. Yeah. This week we're talking about Gordon Ramsay.
Darling.
Oi, get on this.
I'm really looking forward to getting on this time.
I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah.
Gordon Ramsay is, in my opinion, one of the most dynamic content creators the UK has ever produced.
100%.
And his food's quite good as well. But I
that's funny. Yeah, that's a really good point.
I think that's the story with him. I think he's someone who the content has transcended the food.
Yeah.
He's an entertainer more so than he is a chef.
Oh, 100%.
In the same way that, like, you know when people talk about Robbie Williams?
I do all the time. Yeah, go on.
Your wife at dinner, being like, go on, tell me about Ned.
Do you know what I think's good?
But like with Robbie Williams, it's like people are like, is he a great singer? I don't know, but he's an amazing entertainer.
Yes, that was the commonly held opinion when we were growing up.
Yeah.
Around the Nebworth time, which incidentally we grew up very close to Nebworth, and so like those concerts were almost like a kind of national holiday for us. Like I think I knew everyone I knew went to them. I think that was adults at the time.
Yeah.
I think my mum and dad. I don't know how, whether they snuck in or what the situation was.
Mine didn't go. Mine were a bit like my dad thought he was above Robbie.
Did he?
Yeah, because my dad was like a proper like original Grebo in the 70s, like late 70s. He was a proper like long hair, nice. Led Zeppelin. Yeah, Pink Floyd, all that business.
Yeah,
we, it's good, but it did mean that as he got older,
thought he was above it. Yeah.
But do you know what he actually loved? Right, this is quite funny. He was always a bit sneery towards pop music, but Robbie Williams, bloody Kylie, growing up, and he'd be like, let me put on my Pink Floyd. Then he got fucking massive into the Scissor Sisters. He went absolutely fucking nuts.
What was the reason?
I don't.
Not that I've got anything against the Scissor
I think it might be, again, people click on this wanting Gordon Ramsay stuff. 20 minutes and we're talking about the Scissor Sisters.
Do you remember Nebworth? Oh, my heart's hurting. I need to go to the hospital. So I drove up the nice hospital. You know, the one in Hampstead. I drove up there. There's a racist in there was. Just us talking about our health problems. I think I'm putting on a bit of weight. Me dickies are splitting.
My ginger. No. I don't know, because they did actually cover Comfortably Numb, didn't they? They sort of did.
Is that his
so
way
I wonder
in?
if that was his way in.
Yeah.
I wonder if that made him think it was. But I also I don't think he realised. Like not to say my dad wouldn't have liked him if he'd have known it was a guy.
Yeah.
But the guy sings a sort of falsetto, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And I think he thought
Gay
it was
icon,
a woman.
Jake Shears.
Yeah, right. But I think my dad thought he was a woman when he
Right.
first heard it, just because he sings so high.
He was being progressive, but not for the reasons he thought.
Yeah. I don't have any issue with female singers. It's a bloke. No, but even when he knew it was Jake, he fucking
Loved
his
them.
sisters.
Okay, anyway, Robbie Williams,
back-
entertainer. Gordon
Robbie
Ramsay.
Williams, insane. But again, like even someone like Liam Gallagher, is he the best singer
Absolutely
in the
not.
world?
No,
He's an entertainer.
he's an entertainer.
And I think there's a lot of it. Do you know who else I think of in the same? So I go Robbie Williams, Liam Gallagher, and then Bradley Walsh.
100%, yeah.
Like he's not a quiz master,
Yeah.
is he?
No.
Like no one's like, well, Bradley's
He's a national treasure.
he's an actual, because he's an entertainer.
So I didn't know Bradley Walsh, but I interacted a lot with Bradley Walsh because I used to work at the theatre in Stevenage behind the desk.
What, the Gordon Craig?
Yeah, Gordon Craig is a receptionist. My nan got me the job.
What was he doing there?
He was playing. Well, this is the thing. He had a bit of a dip before he came back to national prominence.
Was he Panto?
He was button. He was the headline drawer of the Panto. People were turning up in their droves to see him.
I think he still does it a bit.
Oh, he probably does much bigger ones than Stevenage now, but he was down there, and he was. Imagine how the old dears behind the counter, working behind the counter with me, reacted to Bradley Walsh. Do you reckon they were impressed by him at all? Just a bit. Just a bit. And he knew what he was doing as well.
Was he?
He's like, charming him. He
was
could
he?
charm the birds out of the trees.
Was he?
Yeah.
Oh man, I'd have loved to have seen that. How does he turn up? Does he turn like? Because I kind of like the idea of him turning up like the Liverpool squad, like turning up in a tracksuit and
Big headphones on, wash bag under his arm.
focused.
Yeah, he wasn't like that. He was turn up. He would always look smart. His hair was always in place. He would kind of half flirt with the 60-year-old women, and then straight down into the dressing rooms. Another professional performance, and then he'd be out of there. Yeah,
Fucking brilliant.
yeah. I was, and so I think he is on that level, Bradley Walsh. People like him, and do you remember Brian Connolly as well?
Yeah.
Like I love people like that can do it all.
Yeah.
And and not in an ironic, kitschy way either. Like people watch him and his son drive around Europe in a bus now. Like that's how watchable Bradley Walsh is.
And to be fair, you compare it to the other father and son travelogues. That's the one I'm watching.
Oh, 100%.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I do not give a shit what Jack Whitehall's up to at any time.
But do you know what? I think that's the problem with a lot of those travelogues is they get it wrong. They go the wrong way. They go funny child and sort of random kooky parent. Whereas I think it's better when you've got funny parent and dipshit kid.
Yeah, that's
do you know
true.
what I mean? That's more.
Brad's son as well. Not funny. So
Yeah, but that's good
That's
because
better.
then you get to see Bradley work.
yeah.
But this is the thing with Ramsey, with Gordon Ramsay, like
We will get to him eventually.
which we'll talk about at some point.
No, but he is an entertainer. He's an all-round entertainer.
All-round entertainer.
And what I also think is really important about him is that we're talking about him today as a content creator, which, by the way, like everything he does, one of the most successful, biggest content creators in the world.
Yeah.
He was a standard, old school, terrestrial celebrity before he was a content creator. He has been, like Madonna, he has kind of spanned eras of entertainment, effortlessly moving between the two.
Yeah, because the thing is, there's so many chefs that couldn't keep it up.
Oh, yeah.
There's so many chefs who were telly,
Yeah.
and who's the little fella? Do you know who I mean? He went in the jungle at some point.
Gino D'Acampo?
No, not Gino. There was a little kind of
Anthony Worrell Thompson?
maybe. Is he sort of a bit tubby?
Yeah, beard.
Yeah. And I think Gordon really mugged him off once. I think Gordon called him like a dwarf or something.
Yeah, that does sound like Gordon.
Yeah.
I think Worrell Thompson got done for shoplifting or something. I should have. I think they might have.
But
Had
it's that era of Britain, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think that's why I love Ramsay. And we'll talk about how it's grown and how it's kind of, it's gone to America and he's become something a bit different now. And he's massive on TikTok now.
Yeah, huge.
But
with the kids as well. The kids love him.
well, yeah, we'll work out why. But I think it's a shame. But I when I think of like peak Ramsay, 2005, the F word on TV.
Oh, so good.
Like a different fucking cookbook that he's just throwing out every year, you know, a slightly different way of doing a beef Wellington. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, big
Pork
time.
loin.
There was bits of the F word every week where he'd be in his like 7-bedroom house in Notting Hill. But that house now he looks back on and thinks that was small. That was a small house.
Yeah. Well, but then I like that he's a family man.
Mm-hmm.
There's, you know, it's funny because recently I was like, obviously we've had people finding us recently, people finding the podcast.
Yeah.
Top Jaw found us.
Yep.
Didn't hear anything, but that'll be a silent. But
I have told a few people, yeah. If I
die, it's not suicide,
I'm not,
it's
yeah.
Top Jaw.
I'm not currently planning to commit suicide.
Yeah. Top Jaw, obviously the Mush found us.
And we love him. He's a great
Well, we
man.
actually do.
No, shut up. We're not talking about him.
Anyway, he wasn't happy. But so I was like, right, I want to be more positive on the podcast. I want to be nicer about the people. And the annoying thing is, Ramsey's someone who we could be negative about. Do you know what I mean?
About the transformation over time, I think we could do, yeah.
Yeah, but I do like peak Ramsey, and we're going to watch some peak Ramsey in a moment. Peak Ramsey, I love it so much. I love how entertaining it was. I love how British it was. I love like what he stands for in terms of masculinity. Like it's real kind of like early noughties. It is a bit metrosexual.
Very, yeah.
Like, you know, the kind of in it like
Gelled hair.
Gelled hair, styled hair.
Yeah, yeah.
But also like a little flash of like chest.
Bit
when
of
he's
chest
getting
hair,
changed. Yeah. But it's also
Deep
like
V-necks.
deep V-necks, woolly scarf, blazer over the V-neck.
Yeah.
You know,
You're sitting with David Beckham watching the LA Lakers.
lightly washed boot cut jeans.
Yeah, ideal.
Over a Converse.
Yeah, perfect.
That's nice.
Yeah.
It's a bit Matalab.
New Labour.
New Labour. Yeah, it's that. It's that. Things can only get better. And it was fun. It was good times. People forget that.
And he's been around for all of it. He survived the 14 years of Tory rule. He made his name under Big Tony and Gordon. He was there for Cameron. He's outlasted them all. He's still at the top of his game. He's still a relevant celebrity.
And also, like, it's the entertainment that's done it. It's to be honest, it's not the food. No. Like, I don't know how many of his sort of restaurants you've eaten at. I've never eaten at one of the good ones.
No, neither have I. I've got friends that have on like special occasions.
What do they say about the nice ones?
The nice ones apparently are really nice.
Okay.
And still, again, like quite classic, so they don't like go out of style, I think, because it's like beef Wellington steak. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
I have eaten at like a Gordon Ramsay burger.
Yeah.
Bit of a rough stuff.
Bad.
Not great.
Yeah, it's worse than honest.
But I don't. But again, they're mega successful. I might have just had a bad day. Like they're mega successful. People love them. People love him. People go for the brand. One of the burgers at the Ramsay Street Burger is named after one of his social media clips. That's where we've got to.
Wow. It's
called an idiot sandwich.
That we'll get to this, but that's the kind of peak for me. The only other thing I want to say quickly before we get into this, there's a lot of rumours around him. I remember.
Oh yeah.
Tabloids. Taking pictures of him picking up poppers in Soho.
Right.
There was rumours of a gay affair.
Right.
I've got a little bit of intel. I fucked him. No.
Me and Gordon are in a committed homosexual relationship.
I've got a little bit of intel.
We're actually in a throuple with these guys from Reading.
And my missus actually delivered one of his kids.
Can you tell people that?
That's a great question, actually. Maybe I can't.
Is that...
No, well, maybe, yeah, but we'll give it a go. See, so
is that some kind of medical thing?
Maybe actually. Well, let's just say it and see what happens.
What do you mean?
I've done that so far.
All right, fair enough.
He's got loads of kids, and shout out one of our friends, another comedian, Mickey Overman, who I remember years ago had a very funny bit of material about how she's like he's treating his wife like an oven. He keeps just cooking things, but he's got loads of kids, and they all look like him, don't they?
Right.
But one of the younger ones, my missus delivered. Helped his wife through and delivered the baby
ages ago, right? 10.
Yeah. 5, 6. I don't know. But she was like, they're fucking lovely. She's like, they're one of the loveliest families I've ever been around, and he loves his wife. So just for anyone out there, like I do poppers, so he's not,
and he's in a relationship with Gordon Ramsay.
Yeah,
so
I'm shagging Gordon. No, but just because he's buying poppers doesn't mean he's cheating on his wife with a bloke.
Well, that is also very New Labour era, actually, of poppers. Like not poppers, no, of people kind of out of nowhere being accused of being gay. The footballer Graham Lasso was just out of nowhere, and it was a really common thing to do. I suppose at the time, it was still kind of like a kind of laddish joke, like, oh, he's gay, and so it's like it was interesting to me. I feel like now, if Gordon got, it might be like, oh,
the news would be he's having an affair. not
exactly.
that he's gay.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's not really that
which
interesting.
It should be.
Yeah.
Is it like that's the point? It's like, oh, you're cheating on your wife. Not, oh, you might be attracted to men. Anyway, let's get into it. So I've loaded up an episode. And we're going to watch a couple of scenes from this episode of Gordon Ramsay's Kitchen Nightmares, which I think was his first kind of TV thing.
Yes.
People know what we're talking about. If you don't know what we're talking about, this is where Gordon Ramsay, he was like top chef at the time, few books out, trained by Marco Pierre White.
Well, this is the thing,
who was kind of, like, at the time, Ramsay was like this scary chef. And he'd got that from Marco Pierre White.
Yes.
And he was like, I think Marco Pierre White was his mentor, wasn't he?
He was, yeah.
But then they fell out.
I think they fell out a few years later, yeah.
Because Ramsay turned up to Marco Pierre White's wedding with a film crew.
Oh, was that part of it? Was it? Right.
Yeah,
when he was on the Ascendancy.
Yeah.
Interesting.
He tried to turn up and like film himself at one of Marco Pierre White's.
I'm going to do the same at your wedding.
Well, I mean, I was going to say, like, if you saw the way me and my mates behaved at each other's weddings.
Film crew's the least of his worries.
Walk around with our weed vapes, shouting fucking bollocks out. Big Dave shouting "smash or pass" as the fucking bridesmaids walk out. Like, film crews last year, fucking worries, mate.
You want that on film, so you take the police afterwards.
So we've got an episode of Kitchen Nightmares. This is one of his first sort of forays into television, and the clips we've lined up tell you who he was at the time. Now, some of this I think is a bit ugly, and I've included it specifically because it is ugly. It shows you the ugly side of Ramsay, but it's unvarnished. It's so un-Americanized. It's organic.
And it's so indicative of British TV at the time. So this one, he's actually, again, this was a thing really close to my heart as a youngster, because he's at a restaurant in Letchworth Garden City, which is near Stevenage.
Where we're near. So that's the town where my parents grew
up. And he is doing a Kitchen Nightmares on a restaurant there that's going tits up. And he's trying to build some masculinity in the manager.
Time and time again, the perfect opportunity for a great local Italian eatery.
So the great bit about this clip is it's like, I don't think it's as produced as it would be now.
No, it's not.
So I genuinely think this guy is surprised.
You jumped up, little fucking prick. Who the
this
fuck
happened.
do you think you are? Because you, as a maitre d', are fucking useless. I've done it to upset you. So
done it to upset you.
I'm going to have to teach Gavin how to get tough. If he's going to have any authority.
Deep breath. Tell me exactly what you think right now. What's going through your head and get it off your chest.
With his staff and his customers.
Get it out!
I'm not ready for this.
Look, there's no one here! For fuck's sake, we're in the middle of a field!
Nice park there.
You've got to have authority. And customers have got to walk in there looking for you. Yeah. And you've got to get a reputation. Yeah, at the
for
moment,
what?
I just see this sort of little lost boy moping around. And there's things that are going on in that dining room that you should be aware of, yet you're totally clueless. So I'm really nervous that you're not supporting Alex properly. So what I want you to do is start getting angry.
Right. Why did you send that?
Stop! That sounds like a fucking dickhead in a choir.
Why?
The golden rule in any dining room. You have to be in control of your staff.
What the fuck do you think you're doing, you fucking idiot? Like that.
And not let your staff control you.
Why was that food taken?
Stop! That's not good enough.
That's enough. The thing is, look, as I say, this wasn't as like produced as TV is nowadays.
No.
It's not as scripted, not as staged. This is a guy who I think was in business with his mate.
Yes, he was. Yeah.
They were going bankrupt. They've struck gold. They've got the lottery numbers correct this week. The best chef in the country is going to come and save them. What's he going to do?
Redesign the menu.
Is he going to give you a nice new menu?
Yeah.
Is he going to point
Teach
you in
you
the
how to
direction of cheaper stock? Is he going to teach you to cook things? He's going to take you to a park and scream in your fucking face and tell you that you need to start doing that because that's what customers want.
So good. And like this was a trope of every Ramsay episode every week. They would have to do a thing that was like, obviously we're going to redesign the menu. We're going to give you a little refit.
Yeah.
Make it look slightly better.
Yeah.
But we need another, ideally no-cost idea that's some kind of behavioural change to the waiting staff.
But yeah.
And so like we can't pay for therapy for the waiter. You just need to go and shout at him in a park. It needs to be completely free, whatever the idea is.
And they dramatise it
Yeah.
as if it hinges on this.
Yes,
It's
on him finding his voice.
You've now got a menu designed by Gordon Ramsay. You've got a retrained chef trained by Gordon Ramsay. Your dining room has been completely refitted and refurbished.
Yes.
But what is going to decide whether you go out of business or not is whether he can shout in your face.
It's whether Gavin can call someone jumped up little cock end.
And look, but this is the thing. I think back then,
Those were the good old days.
this is it. It was reality TV.
Yeah.
When reality TV was actually toxic.
Yes.
As toxic as reality, right? This is when people
Where's
were
the bell?
people were having actual nervous breakdowns on Big Brother. Do you know what I
Yes.
mean? On like people were coming out of the jungle with PTSD.
Again, before we became woke, we used to give people breakdowns on reality
Yeah.
TV when this country was a proper country.
When this was a proper country, pre-Menti H. Right?
Yes.
Like no one's worried about his fucking mental health, are
No.
they? He can't sleep
It's
at
just
night.
lucky for Gordon that this bloke didn't have some kind of severe breakdown, because he would have sued him for every penny he's got.
Well, but here's the thing. Wouldn't be surprised if the guy does have a major breakdown.
Yes.
Because the interesting thing is, if you go back and read about any of the restaurants that you visited, most of them do just
They
close
go
down.
bust, yeah.
Anyway.
They do go bust. Surprisingly, teaching the maitre d' to shout in a park doesn't turn the restaurants around.
So I do wonder how good their mental health is after they've gone out of business after being humiliated on national television.
Yeah, we had Gordon Ramsay on. Did he sort it out? No, the restaurant closed and I can't speak in public anymore.
Yeah. I can't show my face down the pub anymore.
No.
And I'm out of business anyway.
Because he called me a jumped up little cock end in the park in Letchworth. But this is useful because this is so different. He's very different to. Like we always talk about on this dreadful podcast that we do. Is about character, and he's developing the characters. He's in the early stages there, so he's got that kind of Tony Blair. Yeah, sure. I don't know if they're up to it. He's got the hand gesture. He's got the kind of he's moving his body up and down a lot.
Yeah,
He's not quite become the American Ramsey, the Botoxed American, look like a thumb Ramsey that is coming later on in the piece.
But this is it. This is the thing, and I think that's a purely, and it's why he's so good. Is he adapts to the form.
Right.
So, like, if you think this was around the time of the UK Office coming out,
Yes, it was.
yeah. Now, the acting in the UK Office isn't big.
This is naturalistic,
It's quite
yeah.
naturalistic and kind of low because there's enough pauses and awkwardness around it that's what creates the laugh.
Yeah,
you
right.
don't need to shout. You don't need to be really big in your
Yeah.
performance because
As opposed to the American Office, which is also very funny, but where Steve Carell is generating a lot of laughs by
he's
being
really
over the top.
big,
Yeah, right.
And it's almost like he knew, he was like, okay, with around British people for British television, I can kind of he's not reserved in this, but
No.
he's a little bit more normal.
No, he's not reserved. He's shouting you're a cock end in someone's face.
But as soon as he got to America,
Yeah.
it's like he was performing to a studio audience.
Should we watch one of those clips now to kind of do the difference?
Is there anything else we need to see from this? Probably not. I mean, the only thing I'd picked out, there's a couple of bits. We don't need to watch it. He does feed meat to a vegetarian.
Again, on the spectrum of like things that definitely wouldn't be on TV anymore. Taking the piss out of someone for being a vegetarian feels very
Not just
Tony
taking the
Blair.
piss, but,
Feeding them meat.
deliberately tricking them into eating meat.
Yeah.
And there's a line that the vegetarian, because they're trying out a new pizza menu and they trick this vegetarian. And it's that kind of thing where like him and the restaurant owner and the maitre d' who's pictured here, they kind of come together because they find a common enemy in a vegetarian.
Vegetarians, blue hairs.
And they sneak this guy some meat on a pizza, and there's just a bit where the guy, and it's so like pressing because it's like back then this was just like a throwaway line that no one listened to, whereas now it would have been like the end of the series.
Yeah.
Like, the guy just goes around and goes, "That was really mean," just walks out.
And he's the butt of the joke in that situation.
Yeah, whereas now it would be like, Ramsay is really mean.
Yeah. But like, so that's Ramsay in Letchworth. That's season 2, episode 1 of British Kitchen
That's
Nightmares.
peak British Kitchen.
Where there is still
Nightmares.
some kind of gesture towards it being a show that might save a restaurant rather than being a freak show, a kind of stage managed freak show.
They're not just sort of fishing for clips of him mugging people off. Back
No,
then,
not yet.
there is the kind of he's trying to save the restaurant.
Yeah.
Then, of course, we went to magazine show Ramsay, the F word, 4 parts. You know,
Yeah.
He'd have his bit-
Gervais is on at the guest. Janet Street Porter's learning how to make foie gras.
What was going on with him and Janet Street Porter?
I don't know, man.
That's a conversation in itself. What I mean, I know how I've already given away confidential,
You've given away confidential information, and you said to not speculate as to whether he was having an affair.
but the Janet Street Porter stuff, that was mad.
Yeah.
It was. I mean, it was a mad segment. A lot of it was about him kind of dragging her. Do you remember it? Do you remember on the F word? He would drag her around the country with Hugh Fernley Whittingstall. I don't really understand what the point of it was.
No.
But it was always like, right, I'm going to make you meet an animal, and then I'm
kill
going to
it.
show you exactly how it's killed, and then we eat it. Like, it would kind of make sense if the whole point of the bit was like, Janet's considering vegetarianism, or Janet's, anti-vegetarian, and we're challenging her. It wasn't. It just seemed to be, well, Janet and Gordon have got this weird kind of negging kind of, they clearly want to fuck each other, but they're really mean to each other, and he'll say horrible things about her teeth. And it's kind of funny to make her go around the country meeting sheep.
Yeah.
Whilst, and she'll be a bit like, oh, I like the sheep. Oh, God, you're actually going to have to kill it. While Ramsay and Hugh Fernley Whittingstall...
Your impressions are Bevo, Bevo and Janet Street Porter. Who else do you do? James Akers.
You're not going to kill the pig, are you? I don't like a bacon sarnie that much. Right, she'll be doing that. And then he'll have Hugh Fernley Whittingstall like to sort of back him up.
Yeah.
He'll be like, no, we have to do this. And him and Hugh Fernley Whittingstall will just sort of walk around a farm looking at livestock in the same way that like two pervy old men walk around the red light district in Amsterdam. Just
Ooh, lovely. Like the lads in Reading.
And that's like, it'll just be that for 10 minutes.
Do you know what I think that came from? I think that a lot of people on British television productions are justifying their jobs. And I think that ultimately the best thing to do would be to turn a camera on and let Gordon do whatever he wants.
Yeah.
But there are people, and there are segment producers, and there are assistant producers, and they have to ultimately say, no, we need to do this thing. We need to go to Yorkshire with Janet Street Porter. And I do think that social media has basically cleansed that now, or made it go away. Like during COVID, they kind of, all of these rules got broken where, like, they never really used to have anyone on Zoom on a show, on the telly. They would like, oh, they can't do that. And then on COVID, during COVID, they had to do that.
Yeah.
And now, like, it's a given.
Well, I've experienced this.
Right.
Like where I've not done loads of TV, but where I've like made shows for BBC Sounds or Radio 4. The word that they use, and it's exactly what you're talking about. TV commissioners and TV producers always say they're like, you have to feel like you've gone on a journey. Right. It's always, we have to feel like you've gone on a journey. So I made that Jacob Hawley on Drugs, that kind of like, podcast series for BBC Sounds that ended up being quite an earnest exploration of drugs. And
John Ronson for Caners.
Yeah. I remember Finn Taylor once called me the Zone 5 Louis.
Yeah, I like that.
But he like, I remember on that, he'd be like, yeah, should we do an episode about acid? And they'd be like, yeah, but can it feel like you've gone on a journey? And it's like, well, what do you mean? And it's like, well, they'd make us drive to fucking Oxford to meet someone to talk to them about acid.
Take a day.
It's a fucking podcast. Can we not call them?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That's what they were doing. Yeah, and it's like that was. I also think with the getting Janet Street Porter to go around the country meeting pigs before they're slaughtered. It's like it was a real era, that kind of mid-noughties New Labour. What's actually in our food?
Yes. Yeah.
There were
growing middle class, growing amount of people with time to cook and to care about. It became a symbol of status, I suppose. Thanks to people like Gordon.
Yeah, but there was just like 1,000 different television shows overanalyzing the way people eat, right?
Gillian McKeith, Dr. Gillian McKeith.
Gillian McKeith, too fat versus too skinny.
Yes.
Like Jamie Oliver chasing Twizzlers around the country, all this. And I will just say,
please, saw the podcast for.
That was like mid-noughties. I was like sort of 10, 12 when that was on telly.
Yeah.
In the few years following that, when I started having girlfriends, I do suspect it was maybe disproportionate, the amount of girlfriends I've had over the years who had some level of eating disorder. And I do think this television,
yes,
which overanalyzed and certainly guilt-tripped the nation about what they eat and how it's made,
yeah,
I do suspect that was a massive influence on that.
Yeah, and people Dr. Gillian McKeith, I think, famously used to analyse people's shit on telly.
Yeah.
And I think she was a doctor of like history of art or something like that. She was not a doctor.
Again, it's like, why her? Why Janet Street Porter? Why are these women just going around the country poking pigs and poking shit to make people at home feel awful
It did
about
become
themselves.
the kind of like, and this is still a little bit of a thing. It became like the era of like causes, like celebrity chefs having causes. Like Jamie's big one was school dinners.
They were like
obviously,
campaigners.
they were constantly having to campaign on stuff. I think like Hugh Fearnley-Whittingstall was about like organic farming. I think
or
or something.
fish thing that he
Or
was,
maybe,
he was
yeah.
he was like he was like it was like. I remember there was always a bit of a thing of like, it's always just better if you can be natural. It's always just better if you go to the source. It's like, I quite like the idea of no more turkey twizzlers and fresh meat. Yeah, I like the idea of Ramsay. But then it was like, but then you got this horrible fucking tramp. Hugh Fearnley-Whittingstall who'd go too far. He'd be like, well, if we have a bit more mould on our cheese. It's like, fuck off, mate. You're disgusting.
And on the other end of the spectrum, you'd have Dr. Gillian McKeith, who would do this thing where she'd get everything that they would eat. It was called You Are What You Eat, and she'd get everything what they would eat in a week. And I always remember, like, she would get it, and it'd be like Chinese takeaway, jammy Dodgers, and it'd be everything they ate on a table. And I'd be like, that's what we eat.
I know. I remember having that exact, and also like they would do things to make it seem as disgusting as possible.
Yeah.
She like, I remember they'd get this big tube, and they'd throw a lot of it in the tube. They'd like get like ready meals like of lasagnas, like just in the, she's like, it's just a fucking lasagna. I think it's all right.
I guess that was the new Labour TV era. I mean, like, it was a really strange time, and I guess like Gordon kind of transitioned out of it. He broke America at that point.
Yeah, this is the thing, like, and you know, a lot of the people we've just spoken about, Janet Street Porter, what has she done since then? Not loads. What's Gillian McKeith done?
Yeah,
not loads.
No.
It's like Ramsay spotted the sinking ship and went, "Fuck this, I'm going
out."
to America."
Yeah.
And so they started doing Ramsay's Kitchen Nightmares in America, and then we've got a clip from this. But I do think what made it really great got lost in the end.
Right.
But I also think there was a kind of sweet spot where he'd kind of dialed up his performance a little bit for the Yanks.
Yes.
But also they didn't know what the fuck to do with him. Because the thing is with him, right, he's high status. And when...
Yeah, I think that's fair to say.
When Yanks encounter high status British people, they think we're Bond villains. Because if you think about what they see British people as,
right,
it's like how many American films has the villain got a British accent?
A lot.
They are quite nervous of us when we're not nerds,
or we're bumbling bad idiots.
They want us to be that. They want us to be Austin Powers.
Yes.
But when we're not Austin Powers, they think we're fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
If you're a big fucking hefty chef with dyed blonde tips, penchant for swearing, they don't know what to do.
Yeah, military background, ex-footballer. They wouldn't understand these Scottish. But
buys poppers on a weekday. So this is Gordon Ramsay reacting to an episode of Kitchen Nightmare, and we're not going to watch all of it because it's a really long clip, but I think just spot like the kind of ways in which the storytelling is made so crude and dialed up, as opposed to the really kind of low budget version filmed in Letchworth.
Listen, and no playing around right now.
Don't worry about it. We're going to nail this.
There's lots of dialogue. Chef's just on his phone.
Are you ready?
Oh, yes. Let's start off with lobster biscuit.
Okay, sir.
I'll go for the marinara.
Is one of the house specialties.
Wonderful.
Another dish that people can eat
Please.
for the chicken and garlic sauce on the bone.
Lovely. Beginning, I walked in, I thought it was a funeral. Now I'm in Spain.
Spain, yes,
You've
correct.
got me back.
Yes.
Okay, brilliant.
I hope you enjoy everything.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Everyone just staring at it.
Do with this order.
The chef's a dickhead. They're always dickheads in this.
I'm so confident overseeing my guys that I got nothing to worry about. These guys been by my side for
So
15
scripted.
years. No, go, man, go. Let's see what he thinks.
It just looks disgusting.
It doesn't.
Very creamy. Is it always this creamy?
Yes, you're a queen bag.
It just looks like lobster was dead before they cooked it.
They're from...
The lobster's from the tank.
You want to take a look?
Okay.
You want to take a look?
Is he dead?
Got over to the tank.
No, I think they're just sleeping.
He must be dead.
We keep a good eye on this.
You keep a good eye on
So he's
them.
fishing around in the
Surely
tank
not.
now. He's pulled out a lobster.
A dead lobster.
It's already dead.
He's gone.
Is he?
Ooh. What I'm concerned about
He snapped
is
his neck.
everything else in there. They've been feeding off that lobster. Then they become full of bacteria.
That is extremely unacceptable. Dangerous. People can get extremely sick with that. I'll get rid of this right now.
Okay,
Please,
good.
can you take that?
Just carry it out through the restaurant in a bowl.
Bye. You smell it.
He smelled it.
Fucking hell.
Oh shit! The fucking lobster's dead.
What you can see.
Oh no!
What you can see there is they're setting up the chef as a guy who loves texting and who's shit, and then they get him to do the classic office candid like talk to camera shot, talking head, and he does it. But as you'll notice there, so much more scripted than the UK version.
And it's hard because I suspect there's a bit of bollocks there. What do you think? Do you think that's real?
No.
I
mean, I think that there's got to be a storyline, and there has to be something terrible that happens in the first. So the way it works, he goes in before he started working with them properly, before he's put on the chef's whites. He puts on, he has a meal. It's always shit. Obviously, the chef's a dickhead. Always something has to go wrong during that first one.
Yeah,
darling, this potato's cold. Have you try that? That's disgusting. Oh, fuck me, darling. In this one, is that lobster dead?
Yeah, and it's just so ridiculous.
And it's all just so scripted.
And also just like the speed and confidence he has to go over to the lobster tank and then just like, well, okay, if you want to come and see the lobster, I guess you can. And then fucking pulls it out, snaps its neck, and starts
sniffing
its
it.
Flesh.
Yeah,
as if that's like a normal way for anyone to behave.
Fuck me.
And as if he wasn't going to do that, the staff would be like, "Do you want to sniff its flesh, Chef Ramsay? You want to snap his neck and just smell his flesh, see if it started to decompose yet?" Fucking Joey Tribbiani, the chef inside, going, "I think Chef Ramsay's going to love my food. I got no fucking problem cooking food for Mr. Ramsay." It's like, they look like mafia guys. He comes in with a dead lobster. He's like, "It's fucking dead." He's like, "It's fucking dead."
It's fucking dead.
Shit.
Oh,
This guy's
shit.
dead. Oh, fucking get out of here.
But and another thing there, in the way that Americans often do, they call him Chef Ramsay as well, which I love. Just wouldn't call him that over here. Just call him Gordon. But over there, they call people Coach Carter. They call him Coach Carter.
It's almost military, isn't it? It's like Lieutenant Dan, Chef Ramsay.
But that's like that's Gordon on his way to mega stardom. That's it, on his way to America, LA.
Yeah,
like
it is
cosmetic surgery stardom.
Then, as you say, it's like with the British one, the humour was kind of in the awkwardness and kind of how he placed himself, and it would kind of cross the line of what's okay and what isn't. But it was awkward and it was slow and it was pausey and it was a bit weird.
Yeah,
like, I always remember me and my girlfriend. This was like a real during lockdown. We went back and watched every Kitchen Nightmare.
Yeah, right. UK and American.
We didn't do it because I don't like. Because this is the thing.
It's too much.
The UK ones were great because it was all this kind of like awkward kind of, and the status thing was really weird. Some chefs would want to go, "Fuck you, Gordon," where some people would be like, "I'm so sorry, Gordon," and then there'd be like restaurant owners who would think that they knew better than him,
yes.
and it was just bleak and funny. And then there was some where what was really great, and this was real kind of like just before the credit crunch, sort of 2008 Britain, where there are people who've got like more money, they thought they had more money than they actually had, right? Would go and start open restaurants in Spain. And I just remember there was one, it was somewhere in Spain, and he just the way he said it, like the start of the episode, I remember the voice, he was like, "I'm in Spain and fuck me, these guys are in trouble." and it's like, as we said earlier, like obviously what's important is being like, I don't know, stop cooking prawns with chocolate sauce on them. Right? That's what will save the restaurant. But then they'll kind of like dramatise it and make this really like weird moment, like, "I tried to shout at him in the park, and if he can't fucking take that, how the fuck is he going to take on like a full service?" Right? Or like there was the one in Spain. They sort of really like added way too much importance to the fact that there was a local donkey sanctuary, the staff of which had come for dinner and had a bad experience, and they'd never been back. And so they set up this kind of
that's the arc, that's the narrative arc.
Exactly. So like rather than it being like, "Stop cooking prawns with chocolate on," it was like, "You need to fucking make up with the donkey sanctuary." And so they filmed this insane scene where he's on the back of like a wagon with a donkey pulling him into this donkey, and he's got this like plastic bag of carrots. And you just see these like mad British expats who've just been lined up by the producers, just like, "Well, I guess Gordon Ramsay's coming to see us in the donkeys." He's like, "If I give your donkeys these carrots, would you consider having dinner at the restaurant one more time?" "I guess so, yeah." And then the arc is complete. Like they sell out the restaurant, they get good review.
Yeah.
He's like, "But most importantly, what did the donkey sanctuary people think?" And at the end of it, it's like, "Yeah, it was nice. I had a nice steak." We'll
and bear in mind, we're saying the point of this is it got more outlandish when they went to America.
But the problem was, it's like it was silly. Whereas in America, they say it just went bigger and bigger and bigger, and it was all about his status in relation to the staff, right?
Yes.
That's what they loved. Because, and do you know what's interesting? We did Bevo last week.
Yeah.
We did
a podcast about Bevo last week.
We did a Rot revisit on Bevo last week. And one of the clips we released was, so, peek behind the curtain, we're recording this the day between the first clip has come out and the episode's gone out to Patreons and it actually going public.
Yes.
And we've got a bit viral on Twitter from one of the clips where Bevo talked about being a cuck, right? And a few people have replied, because the thing is, in that clip, there's an American guy saying to Bevo, so you're a cuck. And he's like, define cuck, please. And the guy's like, no, you're a cuck. You let your woman sleep with other men. You're a cuck. And a few people replied being like, the thing is, Americans are obsessed with cuckolding.
Right.
And there is something about the way they are so keen for Ramsay to bollock them. They are so keen.
There's a sadomasochism to it.
Yeah. They really want the big chef with the big hands to come in and tell them off.
Yeah.
To the point that they will hide a fake dead lobster in a tank and let him rip its head off just so that he's got the reason to go, what are you doing? It's fucking dead.
When Chef Ramsay...
Say it again, Chef Ramsay. I've got my privates in a cage. Tell me my wife doesn't love me, Chef Ramsay.
When Chef Ramsay called me a useless cockhead, I felt feelings I haven't felt since I was a teenage boy.
When Chef Ramsay called me an idiot sandwich, I don't know what to say. I was fucking hard.
I was awkward.
I don't know what it is. I mean, look, we've hinted at it. We should probably watch it. The clip that's kind of made him go from regular TV personality to megastar is the fucking idiot sandwich.
And we're going to look at the reaction to that clip. I think that clip's kind of been done to death in a way. So this clip is that clip being reimagined on the Late Late Show with James Corden. And I think if you think back, we trace the origins. He's in Letchworth. He's in a park recording a TV show for about 40p. He's in America faking a dead lobster being in a tank. Now he's on primetime American TV with James Corden.
This summer, two talk show hosts will square off in epic battle.
Laughter.
Between late night
Julie may be on the talk,
Laughter
but she
track.
is all talk.
and daytime.
I'm ready for this. James Corden, he can suck my
Hell's Cafeteria.
Right, you two order on 2 omelettes, 1 plain, 1 with bacon, please. Let's
Yes,
go.
Chef Jack!
Come on! Speed up! How do I open
So now he's
it?
playing the role
Of himself.
of the sweary chef.
Where's Corden?
I don't know, Chef, I don't know.
What are you doing, young man? Taking a break.
Failure is not an option.
Oh, God, the laughter track is so
Is that
good. And here we go.
mad? Eat it then!
Why would she eat it? It doesn't make sense.
Tensions reach their boiling.
This is one of the worst sketches I've ever seen.
An idiot sandwich.
Idiot sandwich what?
An idiot sandwich, Chef Ramsay.
They will do
So they've played that. They've played the idiot sandwich track, and the reception for it is like what I imagine it's like when David Gilmour does another brick in the wall of the Pink Floyd. It's like that's what we came to see.
Yeah, do you know what it reminds me of? And we've referred back to this a lot, and it's quite sad how often we refer back to old original Gervais screenwriting. It reminds me of Extras when he gets the catchphrase in the Christmas special.
Yes.
That's what's happened to Ramsay.
Yeah, that's true.
He's got a catchphrase.
The
He's
wig?
sold out. He's got
The
a
glasses?
catchphrase.
The catchphrase,
Yeah. And he's idiot sandwich, and he the guy who used to go round Letchworth, shouting in people's faces, and feeding meat to people. It was edgy. It was mad. It wasn't Saturday Night Live. Fucking James Corden.
And do you know what it's like? It's like a bear that's been made to work in a circus.
Yeah.
Is what it's like. If you watch Marco Pierre White, that is still a wild animal.
Yeah,
That is still. He's still a young buck. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He says mad shit all over he's constantly, I know he does Knorr adverts or whatever, but he's still a fucking headcase, that guy, with an intensity behind his eyes. He would never stand for this.
No, he
never in a
wouldn't.
million years.
He wouldn't. And it's Ramsay's kind of gone safe. He's gone safe because none of it's real anymore. Like the thing is like we were like, oh yeah, so here's him doing a sketch of himself.
Yeah.
It's like, well, what's the difference between that and the lobster bit?
Yeah, it's just less funny.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
It's much more funny when it's at least vaguely real.
Yeah, and but then it's hard to appreciate modern Ramsey because we know original Ramsey.
Yeah.
Like, I suspect this is the thing. He's big on TikTok, and we've got a clip now of where he's interacted with someone we've done an episode about before.
Yeah,
because his
Nasty.
thing now, he's not stupid. I say he's not stupid. I think he's one of the smartest businessmen of the last 20 years.
Oh my God, that is an understatement.
The way he's adapted,
yes,
and the way he's continued to build.
He's a content genius.
He is a content fucking genius. And what he's realised, he's gone, there's not enough TV in the world for me to do.
No.
Just do TikTok.
Yeah.
And if what people want is me bollocking people based on their culinary skills,
They can fucking have it.
I can do it direct.
Yeah, right.
Don't wait to set the fucking cameras and lights up.
I don't need
just
Endemol.
Send me shit on the phone, and that's what people do now. People send Gordon Ramsay their recipes so that like these fucking the world is a cuck for Gordon Ramsay.
Everyone on Earth wants to get shouted at by Gordon Ramsay. Man, woman, and child.
Planet wants to pull on their little pantyhose, wants to put their privates in a tiny cage and screw it up and have Ramsay tell them their shit.
Why does it always end up with cuckolding? But this is Ramsay doing his kind of now classic TikTok video, and he's analysing a recipe by our good friend, the King of Dublin, up the bows, Nasty.
Okay. 13, Paddy.
Wow.
Show me what you got.
Wow.
He's taking the piss out of
I'm
Nasty's
going to make a
accent.
sandwich out of this. Okay, you're dunking your biscuits. Don't do them too long.
No,
They'll
so
get soggy.
Nasty is
What the
dipping
hell are you
Biscoff
doing,
biscuits
young
into
man?
milk and making a waffle.
Hack. Oh, for God's sake. That's not even half a waffle. Where'd you get these ideas from, Patrick? Are you smoking again? Two of those? You haven't made one properly. What the hell? Oh, stop it. The what? The devil's anus in a banana? What kind of bananas are you eating? Oh my God, that looks bad.
So he's
In
putting
fact, that looks
banana
really
and
bad.
cream and
He's putting it in a
That's
toasty.
on
He's putting
sandwich.
waffles in a
And someone
toasty.
leave the toilet on your sandwich? Really?
Now, do you know what he reminds me of there? He's become such a caricature of himself. You know, like, I don't even know if you get these nowadays. You know, like 20 years ago when A Bug's Life came out, yeah, you used to be able to go to Toys R Us.
That's how you date 20 years ago. It's when A Bug's Life came out.
Probably longer. But you'd be able to buy like a toy of the main character,
Yeah.
and you'd press a button, and it would say its most famous phrases. That's what Ramsay feels like there. He doesn't feel like actual Gordon Ramsay. It feels like an action figure based on Gordon Ramsay, and someone's just pressed the button to go, "Hey, stop that! What are you doing? Disgusting, young man."
My God.
Do you know what I mean?
I love doing this podcast so much because every so often something completely unexpected will happen. And what's happened there is that you've revealed that you had a beloved Bug's Life toy when you were a kid. Because any other person would have said Woody from Toy Story. Any other person our age. And you said instead, you remember like when you had that like beloved toy that your nan gave you and it made you feel like really special? It was like you were the happiest boy in the world. Do you remember that? It's about 20 years ago. Do you remember that? That happened to everyone, didn't it? About 20 years ago.
Psychotherapists are going to be listening to this being like,
Your Proustian Madeline is your Rosebud. It's the Bug's Life toy.
his Rosebud is the Bug's Life toy, and he will not stop speaking about cuckolding. He's got this weird thing with a Bug's Life, and he won't stop talking about.
Bug's Life. It's like it wasn't. It was good. It was big when we were young, but it was like not. It's not like a kind of like Snow White or something.
People
about 20
people
years.
having to Google what a Bug's Life is. Whereas to me, it's the most important thing in the world. But do you know what I mean?
I do.
Yeah,
The
it
point
feels
still stands.
I guess, yeah. I guess it's Woody. There's a snake in my balls. It's
yeah.
like, put that down, young man. Disgusting.
Yeah.
Oh my
Oh,
God.
what's that?
Yeah, and the final bit, and this is like.
This is the end point of this. Like we've seen him transition into social media star, and now he's kind of in amongst those as one of those, not as someone separate to them, not as a mainstream star that's coming into the social world of a piece with other social media stars.
He's a peer.
Right? Yeah,
he's a peer amongst them.
Again,
and
Marco Pierre White.
And this is someone who we've not spoken about much on the podcast, but who we have encountered personally for a few years. This is good old Uncle Roger.
This is Gordon with Uncle Roger. Again, I'm not going to watch all of it a bit long. But...
Uncle Roger, recently I met Gordon Ramsay. I was special guest on his TV show Hell's Kitchen.
So this is Uncle Roger doing a stand-up
And
show where he
other
talks
special
about
guest
being
on
on
the
Hell's Kitchen
episode
with Gordon
is
Ramsay.
Tony Hawk. And Uncle Roger go, Gordon, why you ask Tony? He skateboarder, he don't know shit about food. Might as well ask Jamie Oliver. Hi.
Jamie taking strays from Uncle Roger.
That guy's so terrible, correct? Any Jamie Olive Oil fan here? What? Camera, look at her face. You're gonna get punched at this show. Why you like Jamie Olive Oil? Why?
I like his accent.
You like his accent. At least you don't like his food. Good. Uncle Roger, recently I reviewed Jamie Oliver.
No,
Thai
get
green
rid of
curry
skip this
with
stuff.
The problem. I'm gonna close. Open more restaurant. Gordon so nice to Uncle Roger. When we meet Gordon so nice, he give Uncle Roger 4 walk. 4, yeah? And in any other circumstance, that would look little bit racist.
To them, everything's gifted to him by government.
4 walk here you go. Take back to your people. Take back to your people. And then Gordon say, oh, don't worry, Uncle Roger. I'm gonna ask my assistant to mail the walk back to you in London. And Uncle Roger go, no shit. I'm not gonna bring 4 walk with me. Walk through airport.
I think that's like. I guess the point. The reason I wanted to show this is just like he's so pally with Gordon Ramsay that he's gifting him stuff. He's talking about him on stage. And it's like he also mentions there. It's like, oh, is it? He sort of makes a joke. He's like, oh, that would look racist. It's like, well, we know. We were on the stand-up scene with Nigel,
yes,
the comedian who plays Uncle Roger.
Yeah, Uncle Roger, by the way, is not a real person. He's a character. You might not be able to tell because the acting's so good. But
well, the only thing I'll say, Nigel doesn't speak like that.
No, Nigel speaks basically like an American.
Well, yeah, he I think he spent a lot of time in Chicago,
right,
and Germany as well. So Nigel's from Malaysia and is doing an impression of a Chinese uncle.
Yes.
I don't know if it's all right. What is quite funny as well, I won't name him, but there's like so I didn't realise this when Uncle Roger first started blowing up, but like those kind of like content creators, those like massive millions of followers, like Uncle Roger.
I mean, Uncle Roger's like unbelievably huge. Right?
He
sells out massive
He's
arenas.
the biggest. So at the last Netflix festival in LA, he was the biggest selling British comedian.
Wow.
He sells more than Russell Howard. He sells more than any other British comedian.
Incredible.
But he has like a team
Does
of
he still do stand up as himself now?
Well, no, he can't because his audience hates it. So that's. I mean, we're watching.
Just like mine, to be fair.
Well, yeah, we're watching Uncle Roger do stand up there. Basically, Nigel, who plays Uncle Roger, was a stand-up for years, and then he started.
Was really good at stand-up.
A fucking brilliant stand-up, and then he started doing this Uncle Roger character, and it went so successful. He was like, "Oh my god, I can sell loads of tickets now." So initially, he was selling loads of tickets, and what he would do, he'd open for himself as Uncle Roger, so they'd get a bit of Uncle Roger. Then he'd do an hour as himself. The problem is, they hated the bit of him. So then he was like, "Oh, fine, I'll flip it on his head." So he'd open as himself, do 20 minutes as Nigel, then do an hour as Uncle Roger.
Still hated him.
They hated him so much that the rest of the show was ruined. So now he has to just book support acts for him to then just do. So they do them, and then he does an hour of Uncle Roger. But he has a team of writers who help him write Uncle Roger.
Right.
And a mate of mine does it who's Welsh, and my mate who's Welsh was like, it does feel weird after a while when you're like, right, I'm just a Welsh guy sat here trying to write Chinese stereotypes.
And it's like
those silly old Chinese uncles. What would they say?
And
how would they do the accent?
But like that's also emblematic of where social media has ended up and where Gordon has ended up because of social media. Like that is the world, that pinnacle of entertainment. Writers, like you're so busy, your time is so valuable, you maybe don't do much writing and you're just going around gigging, doing whatever you're doing. And that's what Gordon is. That's the world that he's interacting with. And like you say, as a peer, not as like someone's coming in and out.
What's mad? I bet Ramsay has writers.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that would be my ideal gig. Actually,
I was just thinking that's the dream job.
If we could get, we've been quite nice to him. We might still get booked for it.
What, Ramsay?
Yeah, if we could get booked as Ramsay,
fucking lovely.
If we stop the podcast at any time, it's because we've been asked to write Gordon Ramsay's TikToks
or murdered by Top Shot.
That'll do us for this week, everyone.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening. Hope you've enjoyed yourselves. Please, if you haven't already, sign up on Apple or Spotify. If you've got a bit of spare money and you want a free hat and some extra episodes, sign up on Patreon. We'll see you next week. Cheers, Rotters.
Up the Rotters.